Hey guys, Double Wide 6, and today what I'm working on is I have this Husqvarna tractor and it has the Kohler Courage engine and it's got the leaky valve cover. I worked on this tractor about 2 years ago and it had the same issue. I replaced the gaskets and it's leaking again. So I'm going to try and make a heat shield to prevent the heat from causing the valve cover to leak. My buddy Terrell, and Terrell Fixes All, he has a couple videos on this because he's had some trouble with these too. So hopefully between the two videos you can get yours to stop leaking. Alright guys, so here's a look at the tractor. It's like I said, it's a Husqvarna, so a lot of these engines are on Craftsman's and Husqvarna's, and this is the valve cover we're talking about. So what happens is it gets hot, and like 2 years ago I put this little bit of a heat shield here, and I think it wasn't big enough because there's just too much of the muffler exposed. So I'm going to try and add on to that, and we're going to try and seal this thing up again. That's what it looks like. So we had the cork gasket. That was Terrell's repair. Get the cork gasket, and I believe put the RTV sealant on there. So we did both of those, and it's still leaking. So I don't know. We'll see if we can get a heat shield. I might possibly double up this gasket. I'm not sure what to do at this point. Alright guys, so here's what I've come up with. I've got a pretty thick piece of steel. It's about 1/8 of an inch. And I'm going to remove this. I'm going to use those two bolt holes so that this is removable. This is notched out for the hood. And because the muffler comes up here, I'm going to weld this on an angle to try and dissipate some of the heat. It's mainly leaking right here at the bottom. The rest of this looks good, and I could tell because this is kind of saturated with oil. So I'm going to weld that on, and we'll drill the holes and try and get that in place. So here we go. We're going to weld this. As far as the angle, I don't know, it's about 60 degrees. I'm going to guesstimate, and if it's not right, I got a big hammer. Alright guys, I got this thing on here. It's nice and solid, and these two bolts actually hold the muffler up. So yeah, that's all secured. I had a notch out for that bolt back there and one back there, but everything's real solid, and that's got to stop like 90% of the heat. So the next thing that we need to do is, you can look at this cork gasket and you can see it's all good until down here, and it appears it's leaking on the front side of the gasket and not as much the back from what I can see. So if we could put a little more pressure here, I think that would help. So that's what we're going to focus on now. I'm not even buying another gasket for this thing. So my plan is to add a little bit of gasket material. I have a scrap here, and what we're going to do, I'm going to take my lipstick. We're going to mark that. I'm going to take this gasket and I'm going to press it into the lipstick. And now I'm going to cut that with the scissors. By making this a little wider, it's going to put more pressure on it, because they only use one bolt down at the bottom to hold this thing on. So I'm going to try and mimic that cut about a 1/2 inch away. And we'll figure out where that hole is. I'm going to mark that and punch it. Okay, so taking a little brake cleaner, and I'm just trying to remove the oil here. I'm going to leave that old silicone behind, and we're using clear RTV. And what I want to do is actually just put this on both sides of this gasket. With this engine, you got to be creative. I can't believe they haven't made an updated gasket or a repair for this thing, because these things have been leaking oil since this engine's been built. So we'll put this on here, and I'm probably going to cut away some of this. It's a little bit longer than it needs to be. And I think that'll help seal this thing in. Should be, might be good. We'll see. I'm going to put a little here and a little there, and we'll let that kind of press out. Looks like a hot mess. Just try and remove any excess oil. So I'm just torquing these down, and I'm doing it by hand. Keeping my hand real close to the top of the ratchet so I can feel the pressure. And what I'm trying to do is expand that cork gasket, but I don't want to make it too tight. So I'm going to try and go in like a crisscross pattern and just snug these up. Okay guys, I got it all finished up here, and I did get a chance to do a little bit of cutting with the mower, and looking in here, I'm not seeing any leaks. I can't really guarantee that it's not going to leak, but it should be better than it was. So we'll have to see how this does, and like I said, I'm surprised Kohler doesn't have some sort of updated gasket for this, because this is really common. So anyhow guys, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of the video. Any concerns or questions, put it down below. Have a good day. Take care.